So there's this oak in the intersection. Something to consider when you're styling oak trees. Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. It is the darkest day of the year. It's the first day of astronomical winter. And it's about time, because we're getting some stormy weather. Today, I'm going to be talking about the structure of trees and how you can study them. You can study them to gain a more stronger idea on how to style your trees in a natural way, without wiring all the branches down and making them look like pine trees, as most people do. So here we have the plum forest that I showed you on the 1st of September this year. And they have all lost their leaves, well, almost. You can see there's still some leaves and fall colors on remaining. But that's because it's still seasonal autumn at this time of year. And our autumns last for like another month, I guess. I don't know. But today, I want to talk solely about structure. I'm not doing a specific video about any of my trees. I just want to talk about, just in general, what trees actually look like during winter, and how to make use of what you see at the details of a tree during winter, deciduous tree. So with these plum trees, they're a tree that doesn't grow very large, like alders and oaks. They're a tree that is like small to medium, and they're a very wild looking tree. They're very popular for ornamentals, but in the wild, they have a very chaotic, I mean, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with like the way they grow. They grow in a spreading pattern like that, and off those branches, as those branches kind of get weaker and they kind of bend down over time, they sprout vertical shoots. Now, these vertical shoots can get very long, but they rapidly slow down in growth. Here, there's these whips, these whippy shoots. I remember showing you these during that video, and yeah, they are now all bare. So this single whip right here, from here to here, that is over a meter long. So yeah, but it rapidly stops or slows growing, and it allows it to kind of start to ramify and mature. You can see on the oldest plum tree in this little grove is a very old one, in fact. You can see plum trees grow in an arching pattern, but also in a broom style at the same time. They're a sprawling broom style that is close to the ground. I hope I described that in a way to understand in bonsai terms. Willows have their own way of growing, but it's mainly controlled by the influence of a stream, because I mean, they grow next to water sources that are of fresh water, but these show they are almost always a mature willow growing on a riverbank will show signs of flood damage. This right here is connected to this tree. It's just part of it fell over during a flood and rooted itself right there in all the debris, and it's continuing to grow. So it is forming a raft, a partial raft. Not all of the tree is trying to regenerate from that branch. So there's like two main trunks right here. And this branch is taking the form of a raft. So that is one thing to consider. A lot of willows will do this because a flood will knock down one of the trunks and they will try to regenerate from there. Here's an example of a sycamore, Planatus occidentalis. It grows into a broom style with a rounded canopy. The branches, most of the foliage is like on the second half to the upper 2/3 of the tree. And while the trunk, the root base, flares out very dramatically and it looks very cool. Over here you have an oak. It's a valley oak, Quercus lobata. These these are probably the most crooked and most the only tree here that has like so much movement in it that they actually often look old at any age. You can see this oak. I've seen bigger oak trees than this, and I'll show you later in the video because I'm actually going to be going all over town and showing you some mature trees for bonsai reference. But you can see they grow in a wide spreading canopy. The trunk before the branches start to form and branch out is very short, and then you get some very tight and I guess like very distinct movement in them. It is very characteristic of an oak. Yeah, and they have kind of this uneven but overall rounded canopy, full of like these little branch pads and a lot of movement in them. So it's very nice. They're very nice trees to look at. Over here you have an alder, a white alder. This is Alnus rhombophilia, and you can see what I've been talking about all this time. They grow in an arching structure with a main leader. There's actually two of them side by side. Yeah, so this is very inspirational. You can see what I meant by all the pads on them. This is a very nice structure to look at, and I'm implementing this look and I guess this style into my bonsai version of this white alder. While I'm here, I want to show you the growth on a bunch of these alders. These are the ones I showed you in September and I think October. And they have indeed grown absurdly over this growing season. I think it started somewhere down there, and all of this is this year's growth. That is over 2 meters tall. That I could be wrong, but that is a lot of growth for a deciduous tree of a young age. Here's another willow. I think it's Salix pacifica or something. Pacific willow. Yeah, you find these all around the creek here. Yeah, so you can see that same style. There used to be a branch but it died, I think. Yeah, it's dead. But you could see, I think during past floods, there's probably definitely been more floods than the huge one in 2023. But you can see this arching structure. Now I'm like just right under it, so it's kind of hard to see, but you can tell they arch, and then they sprout up. So yeah, you can kind of spend a lot of time kind of forming that main structure where the biggest trunks are, and then like every year maybe kind of you let the willow grow, you just prune it to add some movement and ramification. And even though all those upward shoots will be from 1 year of growth, they'll look like the young shoots that come off of these big arching trunks. I'm also under the looming presence of this old white alder tree. This is a twin trunk I've shown you a few times. You can see the arching branches, the mainly vertical and apically dominant profile to it. And it has nice bark as well, you can see. Here's an even bigger oak than the one I showed you. It's by a bunch of these office buildings, right by the intersection. So this is a huge tree. Now, I'll show you with my foot. You can see there's my foot. It's absolutely massive. And I mean, it probably is like, I don't know, 10 feet circumference. That's my guess. And it's really old. It's over a century old. It has lots of movement and an overall broom style branch structure. And then at the very end of the branches, they start to weep. That is very cool. I'm going to use this tree for my bonsai inspiration on my Valley Oak bonsai. Here is the root base of a mature alder. It's very loud. The root base of an alder that's growing in the creek, you can see it's very exposed. It's almost like a ficus. It actually really does remind me of that of a ficus. But the tree overall is nothing like a ficus. Yeah, so this is a very interesting feature of an alder growing on the riverside. Oh. Here you can see the sycamores here are, I don't know how big they are in relation to the ones I showed you over there, but these ones are probably around the same size. They have a broom style canopy, certainly. These are usually like these are the biggest trees on this road. And they're very interesting to look at. Ultimate broom style canopy with a nice flowing structure. I don't even need to use my fingers, you can see that. If I go out here a little bit, you can see the individual trees. Yeah, there's a Quercus plaustris or pin oak over there, but that's not what they look like when they're mature. These are young ones. They look quite conical when they're young. Here's the root base. It's not very profound, but it gives you an idea on what I mean by that the sycamores have a very cool root base. Over here you have a Chinese pistache, also known as Pistachia chinensis. And this is a very flowing structure, but these are quite young trees. These are not fully mature. They actually grow. They actually grow wider, and the branches begin to arch, and they have a lot more movement in the older ones. And then here you have a black locust tree. And this is not very old, but you can see it has pretty much all the features of a mature locust tree. You have lots of kind of horizontal movement where the branches kind of flow upward. It's a broom structure again. But towards the end of the branches, they kind of get more tighter like that. More zigzagging movement. I find that quite inspirational. Here's an example of an elderberry tree at its finest. It's not the normal kind of elderberry. It's a miniature form. It has smaller leaves and tighter growth, but you can see it is a broom style canopy, and it has very beautiful branch structure. It's very flowing. They all divide into two. If they divide into three, the middle one dies, and it really creates this beautiful structure. I'm surprised I haven't seen many as bonsai. These can be really nice. I've never seen one as bonsai, but they have really nice compact internodes. You can make them tighter even than this. You can probably reduce the leaves quite nicely. They grow very fast, and maybe they get some dieback, but I'll try it. I'll try my hand at some elderberry in my future. But this is a very nice structure. Over here you have a Liriodendron tulipifera, or a tulip tree, and a silver birch, Betula pendula. Let's see the structure of the tulip tree. So you can see it has a broom structure once again, and at the ends of the branches they kind of weep. I don't know if in bonsai if you'll be able to copy the feature where all the twigs at the very end curve up, because I don't know, that would be only a temporary thing, but maybe temporary. I don't know if I'll need to use it. I think I'll just keep the arching pattern, but you can see, even though it's been pruned, it has the basic shape of a mature tulip tree. Now this silver birch, has been pruned. However, it also has some of the features of a silver birch. It has another broom style. They often have low branches or low trunk divisions. And then you have the arching branches on the side, and then the weeping ones at the very ends. So I'll consider this as a possible styling for whenever I attain a birch bonsai. They don't live that long, but they make really nice bonsai. I've seen great pictures of them. Now here we have Austrian pine, I believe. Pinus nigra. They're, I guess, some kind of black pine, based on the scientific name. But they don't have a very nice root base. I don't know. These two have a decent one, but it looks like someone tried to find the root base of it, which is kind of silly. Or maybe that was a dog. Maybe there's a crud in that pile of dirt. I don't know. But over here, you can see all the branches coming off of the trunk. If there is no multi-apex tree like that one, they all are horizontal, and maybe you get one that kind of arches that, tried to be an apex, but it in the end it turned into a branch. But they all are coming off like 90 degrees to the trunk, which is very common for this species. I don't know if this is an Austrian pine. The bark is slightly different. Austrian pine has more contrast between the plates and the cracks in the bark. The cracks are usually black and the plates are kind of pale like this, but maybe there's just some age to grow onto this tree. Maybe then it would happen. But for now I'm thinking maybe these are Austrian pine, because that is what Siri tells me when I take a picture of these trees, and I use Siri knowledge. Over here, you can see there's a bunch of birds. I don't know what kind of birds they are, but you can see there's a whole bunch of Monterey pines, Pinus radiata. They're native here, and these don't have very nice root bases because they're in a park, and I don't know, they're covered in sand. The sand is probably piled up on top of them, but you could see in front of this there is a tilia, or what is it called? Linden. It is a linden tree, and I think I'll have better luck showing you the structure if I show you the actual silhouette. So here you can see it has a kind of conical shape. There's a central leader, and then all this, I think it's a broom style as well. Yeah, it's a broom style. The basic branch structure is a broom style, but then it becomes more of like a Christmas tree. And this is a mature linden tree, and I think it's a small leaf linden variety. It doesn't have very big leaves. Maybe I can find a leaf for you. Yeah, I think it's a small leaf linden variety. They don't get very big. All the seeds have fallen off. Well, actually, there's still some attached. They're hard to see. They look very interesting, but a lot of them are out of reach. But here you can see it has it's a buttressed root base, and there's a plaque right here, and it says, yes, it addresses the name of the tree. So that it was planted to represent this as a symbol of the Czech Republic. Yeah, that's interesting. It was planted on July 4th, 1998, and it's all written in Czech. Interesting. Oh. Cervenek. I don't know. But yeah, very interesting root base. Here, there is a Cedrus, I think it's a Cedrus deodar cedar. This is different from the typical cedar with the dendritic foliage. This one is it's a different subspecies of cedar that grows in Lebanon. You can also call a Lebanese cypress, Lebanese cedar. There's also a kind of a type of this tree that's called Atlas cedar, and it's blue. And it's a lot brighter in color. But you can see this is a mature cedar, and you can see that it has some kind of upright structure to it, but then it very rapidly has cascading branches, and the top of it isn't very pointy. It kind of curves to the side, which shows that it's quite old. It's beginning to enter its mature and old phase. But usually when these are young, they're very pointy, and they look like hemlocks, hemlock trees, not the poisonous perennial. Here's another shot of the linden tree and the Monterey pine with its paths and this kind of deciduous-like structure. Now this is a very special one. Oh, how did an alder leaf get here? That must have blown all the way from the creek. Oh god. Oh, I see. There's an alder right there. This tree is quite a remarkable one. This is the ultimate valley oak. And this tree has been living for probably at most 500 years. It's very old, and the bark is actually showing telltale signs that it is as old as I'm saying it is. I think you can see that this upwelling in the soil is from the roots. It is slowly trying. If these props were not here, this would crash down, and that would be loud. It would be very loud. Oh, look, the sun is over there. Yeah, but you can see, here's the bark. And this is not as smooth as they get when they're a bit younger. You can see further up the tree, it's a bit more rough and coarse. But then I guess like the top layers of the scales kind of, they peel off like this, and it makes it a bit more smooth. You can see here, it's very smoothed out right there. But this tree is one of my favorite ones of all, because it represents Valley Oak very, very well. And I am going to style my Valley Oak bonsai very, very similar to this. It might not be leaning, but it'll certainly have all of this character to it. This oak grows like an inch per year. It's that old. It's so ramified, and it hasn't had much dieback. I'm very surprised. I mean, it looks like that branch died in this fall, this little twig right here. But yeah, you can see it still has its leaves on. They overall get late fall colors, but oh wow, this is absolutely spectacular to look at. It is. You can even see that they touched the ground. I don't know if the branch is alive or not, but if this was alive, it would certainly be rooted into the ground. That is absolutely insane. And I'm going to try to implement the ground scraping branches. I guess not scraping, but like they touch the ground. When they get old, they kind of, as the tree kind of fills in towards in the middle, it pushes the branches outward, and it makes so that there's more space for new branches and for the new apex. But as that happens, you get these branches that kind of slowly creep down towards the ground, and then they eventually touch the ground. And if it's lucky, it roots into the ground. And yeah, I also, in my bonsai, you can see all these like seedlings over here. Very, very cute. But yeah, I might also implement the feature where you can when there's a very ancient oak in the grasslands of the foothills of the Sierra Nevada, you often see a pile of deadwood and rubble from like the tree and branches breaking and stuff. I will add that. I think it's an interesting feature, and it makes it a very relatable tree as bonsai, because if I styled an oak like a pine tree, I don't know, I don't know. There is no, I mean, like those conical ones over there, or these redwoods here, or those. Like, it wouldn't be relatable. You wouldn't be able to relate to it because you would have never seen an oak growing like that. But this makes it all the worthwhile, styling it in a broom style sprawling canopy with lots of movement and undulating puffs and pads of foliage like clouds. So that is very inspiring. I just want to get one last look at that root base. That is absolutely insane. That is a nabari. It is a nabari of an oak. They get very nice root bases, and I mean, you can kind of see the individual roots, but like this probably used to be kind of straight up, but over time it is kind of leaned over, and hopefully those props will hold it up until its last day. Here's another look at that branch structure from a distance as I continue on with my journey. Covered in moss. That is absolutely, I could stare at that. I will, maybe when my bonsai version gets developed enough, I think I'll spend one of my times repotting it at the foot of this oak tree, soaking in all the details and the nuances of the oak without having to scroll through pictures and waste more time. But this is very, very beautiful. Here's a, what is this, like a stone pine or something? I don't think it's a Caledonian pine. It's, but yeah, I'm blocking all the license plates. So you can see that it completely defies the laws of pine structure because it grows with a ball-shaped foliage, like completely perfect round canopy, and there is no conical, there's no main apex of the tree. It has beautiful reddish bark and beautiful structure. I think this is like a broom style canopy. That's very interesting. They're native to, I've seen them native in Portugal. They grow all over the place. They look kind of funny. They look like truffula trees or something. And there's a clump style one growing further up the hill. I'll show you later. Now here, I think this is probably Carpinus coreana, Korean hornbeam. And you can see they also grow very short trunk. These have not been pruned, aside from to keep a few of the branches away from the road. I was just hauling myself up the hill. I'm kind of out of breath, but you can see they have a round canopy, lots of tight ramification, and very, very beautiful broom style canopy. They get some subtle movement. There's an older one down there, but you get like they overall they look like this. They're very flowing trees. They have a round top canopy. I don't really know them well enough to tell you how good the root bases are, but I'm sure you can make them good in a bonsai version. Oh, I'm getting rain blasted into my face. Here's a western, well, it's a redbud of some sort. It's a redbud. Some of the seed pods are still on it. This is not growing how it would normally grow. They often grow in a clump style with the trunks kind of thinner trunks starting out from the base and then like going like that. But this was grown, you can see at the base there's that pipe and it split it open. That pipe, it was growing straight up. Probably with the light up on top so that it would guide the shoot straight up with very, very longly spaced internodes so that it wouldn't sprout any branches and try to grow anywhere outside of the street tree profile. But this is not a street tree. I don't know why they let this, I don't know why they planted a contorted plant when it's not even far enough. It's far enough from the road that at full size this is not going to interfere and have low branches poking people's eyes when they're walking on the sidewalk. But this, from here up, that's how they grow in nature, except with all these like drooping branches, but it's just upright. Yeah. So that's a redbud. They don't grow into big trees, but they're very beautiful, and they get beautiful flowers in March and April, and beautiful fall colors. They can turn red, orange, and yellow, and lovely round leaves. They're kind of heart-shaped. You got a grove of what I believe it could be longleaf pine. I'm not sure, but they don't look, they're not mature. The mature longleaf pines in like Texas and Louisiana and Florida, they have kind of a rounder canopy. But yeah, whatever kind of pine these are, they're very interesting. There's a little forest of them. This is not native. These just were planted in the grove for the aesthetic purposes of this colony of apartments, I guess. Oh yes. So if those pines back there were indeed longleaf pine, here's another plant that grows with them in the same area. This is liquid amber. It's a sweet gum, American sweet gum. You can see these are not trained to grow vertical. They naturally grow like that. I'd still call this, I think this is like a mix of a formal upright and a broom style, because the lower 3/4 of the tree is usually a formal upright with the side branches coming off. Maybe some kind of branches kind of going close or at an acute angle from the trunk, but at the top you have a broom style canopy, and they get nice root bases as well. You can see that one has a nice root base. They get late fall colors. They have a wide range of fall colors. These fall colors these ones started in probably mid to late October, and they'll be ending by early January, especially those green leaves over there. Here's the root base of the sweet gum trees. You can see it has quite a nabari to it. It's very flared out. This is just a dominant root. This root is just taken off, so it's very flared out right here. But they get naturally. You can see there's a mound of dirt right here. That's probably a root going that way. Root goes here, so there's just a plate of wood here. It's not very large and dominant like some of the grotesque looking Japanese maple bonsai that you see, where the person who owns that bonsai doesn't do any root selection. They just make it grow into a mass of roots, and that, oh god, I can go on about that, but what I'm saying is that sweet gum trees should be styled for bonsai more often, because they have a very beautiful structure, and they should be styled in a way that looks like a sweet gum. And they don't grow like pine trees. You don't see them growing like redwoods, and you don't see them, I don't know, growing, cascading. They don't know. They may have cascading branches, but no. They don't grow like that. They grow in a mix between formal upright and broom style, like a very slender broom style canopy with kind of weeping or cascading branches coming off of the side. Yeah, very, very beautiful. And they get lovely fall colors and interesting fruit. Maybe, I mean, like, if you don't really like the spiky fruit, maybe you can like clip those off, but they're pretty nice, especially as ornamentals. They stay on throughout the winter, so they can look like ornaments. Here there is 3 cherry trees. This is a type of stone fruit, prunus. They grow in a broom style, but I'm still trying to wrap my head around why they grow like a baobab or a succulent tree. What is this? They have a bulbous trunk. They look like a baobab. Like 2 years ago, I really did think that these were some kind of baobab, but I didn't really know why they flowered and got fall colors. But I don't know, I have to look that up a little bit more. Maybe they can grow in drought tolerant areas. Now it is drizzling very heavily. But yeah, they grow in a broom style. This is a very common plant for bonsai. But you know, they're often styled in the pine tree form. And but they have very lovely silvery bark, and it lasts for a very long portion of its life, until eventually it starts to crack at the base. But you can see, oh my god, it has like bulbous roots. I don't know what's going on about that. Maybe it's because it's drought tolerant. Maybe it's storing water in here. I have no idea. But yeah, the broom style branches that come off of it are kind of straight-ish. They slightly curve outward, but yeah, but then they have like these horizontal branches coming off of them. So it's a very interesting style. And I've seen a lot of like Saiba or like a Ceiba speciosa, the silk floss tree. It grows like that as well, and it has a similar proportional trunk, but this is not a succulent tree. This is a stone fruit. You can see the leaves are like that, and they turn red and pink and orange and all that lovely stuff. And then in April and late March, they bloom. The branches just droop with petals, and they just blow all over the road. It's very magical, very nice tree. Here you have a stone pine little clump, and this was planted here for the aesthetics of this little, what do you call this? It is a, oh god, I don't know what to call this. It's a beautiful cluster of cabins and apartments. But here, you can see the sweeping structure of the stone pines. These are younger than the first one I showed you, but you can see the bark. It's very, very nice. It's kind of reddish, very deep, crackled bark and plated. Yeah, whoever planted this knew what they were doing, because it ended up turning out very well. These are perfectly spaced, very naturally, and it looks so authentic. I wonder if there's, I don't even know. I've never even seen a seedling pop up from one of these, but I would really love to start one of this stone pine, maybe, I don't know, pine of some sort that grows in southern Europe and the Mediterranean. But yeah, lovely. They don't grow like, they don't have the bluish needles of the Scots pine. They have reddish bark like a Scots pine, but it doesn't peel off like the Scots pine. The bark plates stay on. The reason why Scots pine bark turns red at the tip or the end, the branches, is because it breaks off. It easily breaks off when the wind kind of bends the trunk, so they're kind of brittle, and that's why it shows the bark underneath, so it never is able to form a thick layer of plates like that. But this, I guess, maybe it does the same. Maybe it just hasn't aged all the way. But this young clump of stone pines is very inspirational. It makes a very nice scene. And it turned out very nice, I say that. Now here we have manzanita. Manzanita grows kind of like an oak, except it doesn't have very much taper. But, oh, there's a mushroom of some kind right here. Look at that. Yeah, but they have very lovely bark. This is what is the scientific name of it? There's a relative of this. The madrone is arbutus. But I don't know what the scientific name of this is. But it's very beautiful. It has small leaves. It's perfect for bonsai. I'm surprised. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of a madrone bonsai. Maybe, I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it profusely dies back all the time, and keeps a lot of its branches. And you can see there are no suckers coming out of the base of them. So they're pretty reliable, I would think, for bonsai. But they have a very nice structure. I think this would be like a broom style. I don't know. Maybe it's broom style. It's a clump style, more like a clump style with lots of movement and ramification, and kind of a dome-shaped canopy. And these do not grow into a tree. You can see they're quite mature right now. They grow slow. They get these like extensions. They're not very, very long, but you know, they're nice trees, and they grow as cuttings. It takes a while for them to get started, but they do grow as cuttings. and the bark is, I don't know what about it makes it cold, but the bark is cold. I don't really notice that much, but during summer when it's hot, I guess people said that it's like a refrigerator tree. I don't know. Maybe, but it's a very subtle. if that is true. I mean, I believe it because I've heard so many people say that. So I don't know. I'll start one. It's a very nice plant for bonsai. It's very small leaves. It has everything that it's a very promising species for bonsai. Oh my god. So these mushrooms are feeding off of the old roots and the stump remains of a Monterey pine. Or maybe it was one of the stone pines, but these are very interesting mushrooms. It's not a tree, but I just thought I would wanted to show you this. Here's a mature pine, Monterey pine. It doesn't have it's all buried by needles down there, but there's a Nabari. I see the soil kind of raises around the tree, but it has a very nice branch structure. It's not like a common pine structure, but you know, central leader, and you have some side branches that they kind of branch out. This is very interesting. The needles can reduce in size, so it doesn't always have bushy needles. And the top is a broom style. And it has like kind of a flattish canopy at the very top. Here is some Monterey cypress. I think it's a Cupressus. I don't know. Something in this cypress, redwood family, but they grow in a clump broom style, and they're very beautiful root bases. There's a lot more mature ones where they actually grow on the coast and headlands of the ocean, but yeah, very, very inspirational conifers. Here's another sweet gum. Here's a planted grove of sweet gum and tulip trees. They're both broom styles, and they grow kind of similar. Yeah, very inspirational. It literally looks like it was that is just, the whole composition here is absolutely lovely. Here's more silver birch at full size, and these have not been trimmed back. These haven't had their deadwood trimmed back because they're growing right next to a pond where they naturally live. They love water, and yeah, very lovely structure. And there's a sweet gum over there. There's also a lot of sweet gums here that have the same kind of tall broom style canopy. And I guess the broom style structure to it starts halfway up the tree, but the lower half is kind of a more conifer style. You get these lateral branches that kind of cascade a little bit. Lovely. And the leaves can reduce a little bit, so that's very nice. I cannot wait to start a sweet gum bonsai because I'm going to come over here and look at these for reference. And also look at the root base of this sycamore. Very, very nice root base. That's like a dozen roots in all directions. Here you have some spice trees. These are not native, but they're a subtropical temperate tree that and Mediterranean that they grow in like a weeping willow style. And they kind of look like that, but they're almost like an evergreen version of it. Yeah, I'll show you the bark. Here you can see very knobbly details on the spice trees. They're still growing. They're definitely still growing somehow. But all the sprouts, they like the sprout out of the base. Wow, this is still growing, and I'll show you just how tender it is. You can see I just picked that off. That's how tender, and that's how you can tell if something is growing or not. I don't know how it's growing in this climate, but they have tags as well. You can see the little thing. But this is very beautiful bark and a lovely structure, very tight ramification. Yeah. I bet the people have made really nice bonsai from this very old Monterey pine with a broom-style branch structure. The sun is trying to come out. It's still, it's drizzling very densely. But we also have this stone pine with a broom-style canopy, twin trunk. It used to be 3 trunks, actually. That one got cut off. It has a very flared root base. And yeah, as I said, lovely canopy. This is older than any I've showed you so far. And it's the tallest. That is very beautiful. I haven't actually been here with the intent of viewing the structure of trees. It was only for fall colors and flowers in spring. But I've never actually came here with the intention of like making a video and kind of spotting all the details that make these trees very inspirational. But this is my first time doing so. Here's another sweet gum. This one's more of a formal upright. It has a main leader. Branches go off to the side. But overall, I think most of them have a broom-style canopy at like halfway up the tree. I think here you have a hawthorn. There's a hawthorn right here. I can't really tell. Something related. But yeah, it has the berries. And it's an ultimate, like, even though it's been pruned, it still has the natural structure of a hawthorn, plum, and stone fruit tree. Very smooth, flowing structure. Here's a tulip tree with its classic conical, formal, upright, deciduous structure. Kind of a round apex, and the lowest branches are kind of cascading. They slightly curve up at the ends, and a flared trunk at the base. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this. I'm walking up on here, but I just wanted to show you quickly all the character you can get on a manzanita. So all of this is from here. This is the center of the plant. But this one just, I don't know, maybe it broke and it fell on the ground, but it kept growing upward. And these are much older than the first ones I showed you. I'll show you my foot for scale. You can see the bark is very smooth. Very, very smooth. And the deadwood has so much. I just love all the play with these living strips. There's a tiny strip of living tissue here. It was originally like this. This is the living tissue, but then this died. So there's like every time a section of deadwood of living tissue dies, it adds to a character of this. And so these have been growing based on how long these extensions are and how thick they are. They don't add too much like taper, but these are very slow growing, and in order to get a lot of thickness you have to let them grow. But if you want a nice graceful tree that looks kind of delicate, this is the way to grow. It's like just kind of clip it to the first 2 leaves once a year, and it will turn into like a really beautiful tree. You can see, I don't know what these are, but they look really cool too. Here's those mystery plants. Yeah, simple leaves, short petioles. Here are the seeds. Yeah, the old leaves turn yellow. Interesting. There's the fall colors. It's late, but it's beautiful nonetheless. Here's a firethorn, Pyocantha. And it's a broom style, clump style mix. very nice. And the berries add to the holiday kind of, there's berries right here. They add to the holiday appearance, the ornaments, contrasting with the foliage. And some of them can be like semi-evergreen. Some of them are turning reddish. So it's, I don't know, maybe they'll defoliate, I'm not sure. You know, there's a little clump of sweet gum trees in all their glory. This one has most of it broom style, but it still holds that slender, it's not very spreading. They all like growing slender, but look at this root base. This, it's not a maple, but this is a sweet gum that is very old, and I can't even count how many surface roots they are because they're all fused. But it's not like a Nabari that's so ridiculously large that it looks grotesque. It's a fair in proportion to the tree. The trunk and the Nabari, it's a very nice balance. And then the first branch starts like even less than head height. It's a very beautiful sweet gum. And this is probably my favorite one in this little park here. Maybe. I'll have to see the others. Oh, well, I'm almost done with the video, but this red maple is absolutely lovely. It is so beautiful. It's a perfect broom style structure, and it has very subtle movement in the branches lower down, but it has a very balanced and fairly sized root base as well. Yeah, it looks like when it was growing, there were two buds on either side of the stem. That's how they grow. And somehow they both survived and they didn't cancel one of them out. So I've never seen that. Usually, well, one is stronger than the other, but these are actually equally strong. But in bonsai, this doesn't work out. Like, you'll get very swollen area, like right there. I don't know how that works, but like, yeah, this is very beautiful. Perfect. It is ultimate maple structure. It's not very old. It's not mature, but this is really, it's good enough that it inspires me. I'll end the video here with these sycamores, these 3 sycamores. You can see the root bases are very radial, and that is probably one of the best things about them, is that they have a very nice root base. So they won't stop you from training them to have a nice root base. As long as you do the right root work, that you'll make them look like this. That's all for today. This is the Watch Poplars, and I'll see you in the next video.